Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's your boy Smokester here, back at you with another video. And today we are going to be going over the new factory bikes that were just released yesterday. The big thing with this update is that we now have the factory Honda, the factory Husqvarna, factory Kawasaki, all of the bikes you would expect from the OEM pack or anything like that. All of those are now in the game for both the 250 and the 450. And these bikes are simply amazing. They ride phenomenally. Now, the biggest thing that I could say is I've heard somebody say that these bikes are like a cheat code to the game. I don't agree with that statement, because one thing I don't think that people realize is that when they made these bikes, they made them with the intention of them being factory bikes, being what the pros would ride in actual races. The OEM bikes are more like what comes off the showroom floor for your average Joe that goes and buys them from the store. So that is the biggest difference with them. But we are going to go over the new bikes today, and we are going to ride the Kawasaki 250 and the Husqvarna 450 and just talk about these bikes and what I feel like they feel like. I'm not going to go over every single bike in this video. It would be way too long, as well as they're probably all very similar as far as power delivery. I think the only thing that really will be different is the suspension, so you're going to have to figure out which one you prefer on your own. But let's get into it. All right, so we are on the Kawasaki 250 factory bike, the new one, and we are on Tangled Webs by Huron right now. And this bike right here, man, this is my favorite bike. I grew up, when I was racing, I raced Kawasaki's, so I always preferred riding a Kawasaki in the game. I know that sounds weird, but you know, that is what it is. But I just wanted to touch on the fact that the new OEMs came out today. And up until, it was about a month ago, I was against the factory bikes. Like, I did not want to hop on them, you know what I mean? But I did reluctantly, and then I really started liking them. So I've been riding the factory bikes a lot recently. And today, when the new OEMs dropped, I rode the Yamaha 450 and the 2024 Yamaha 250. And I am not a fan. I know it's going to sound weird, but man, after riding these new factory bikes, I mean, these are my favorite bikes in the game. Will I still ride the OEMs? Probably here and there. For the most part though, man, like, I don't compete in any of the pro series, any of the amateur series. I was trying there for a while, but because I don't do that, I don't feel the need to really get the OEMs down, you know what I mean? I don't really feel the need to ride those. So I'm probably gonna stick with the factory bikes. And I know there's gonna be people that, you know, only prefer the factory bikes, and there's going to be people that only prefer the factory bikes, kind of like myself. It just is what it is, you know. But the factory bikes are so good, man. They really are. It's just crazy how good they are. Like, I can push the bike and not feel like I'm gonna crash. Now, my biggest thing with the new OEMs, so if I'm leaning this way and I'm coming up to a jump and then I let go or try to straighten the bike out to go over the jump, with the factory bikes, they just lean straight up and, you know, there's no problem there. On the OEMs, I feel like it tries to swing all the way back past straight up and down over to the other side. Like, it tries to lean back the other way, so it's like fighting against me. On the OEMs, I don't feel like I'm fighting the bike to keep it up. You know what I mean? Or, I mean, on the factory bikes, I don't feel like I'm fighting it to keep it up. On the OEMs, I really feel like I'm fighting it just to keep it up. And I don't like that. So these new factory bikes, man, I'm telling you, they're just phenomenal. And I really hope that they get the credit they deserve, because these bikes are just great. And I wish the OEM bikes were as good. And maybe if I spend more time on them, maybe they are, you know. But just after riding the factory bikes as long as I have, man, and I say as long as I have, which is fucking hilarious, because it's only been, what, a day? And I don't know, man. I don't foresee me going to OEMs. I think I'm gonna stick to the factory bikes. Now, if I plan on competing in some aspect, I'll probably go to the OEMs, you know, and get them down, whatever. But I don't feel like I'm good enough at that yet, at the game, to do that yet. So right now, strictly factory. Now, I will be doing a video on the OEMs, and I'm not gonna bash it. If there's good things about the OEMs when I'm riding them, I'm gonna point it out. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be biased and just say, oh, these are complete shit, because they're not complete shit. The only downside I have is that I don't like fighting the bike to keep it up. You know what I'm saying? So, but we're gonna go ahead and switch over to, I think pretty much all of the 250s probably handle similarly. So I think that we're gonna go jump on a 450 now. All right, so here we are on the 450, and we are on the Husqvarna factory 450, and we are on Red Sand MX. I chose this track because I wanted to show the bikes in sand. You know what I mean? On the OEMs, I feel like the front end wants to just tuck on me in sand quite frequently. You know what I'm saying? On the factory bikes, I don't feel that at all, man. In fact, the only part that I'm not the biggest fan of on the factory bikes, as far as the front end, is when you over jump something and you land on your rear wheel and your front end smacks the ground afterwards. It tends to pop back up, kind of crazy on you. But so I prefer the front end on the new OEMs as far as that, like if you're over jumping stuff, you know. But as far as like soaking up bumps, cornering is tremendous on these factory bikes. Like, cornering is just awesome. And as far as all that, the factory bikes is where I'm gonna go with, you know what I'm saying? But that's not saying that the OEM bikes are bad, because they're not bad. You know, we have two teams that work very hard on both of their respective bikes to, you know, get the response in the game that they feel the game should feel like, if that makes sense. And because of that, we have two teams that are doing that. You know, competition breeds progress. So because we have both teams working really hard on their bikes, you know, it's going to make the other team want to do better, especially when they hear the feedback from the community. And I know I've heard a lot of people that prefer the factory bikes. And who knows, maybe next season we have an outdoor professional for factory bikes, you know? That would be awesome. But in my opinion, I prefer the factory bikes. Now, I'm still going to do a video on the OEM bikes. I believe I said that earlier, though. But when I'm just riding around or when I'm racing or whatever, I'm going to be on the factory bikes, I think. It's just, they're phenomenal. So let me know in the comments down below which bike you prefer. Do you prefer the OEMs? Oh, shit. Do you prefer the OEMs or do you prefer the factory bikes? Yeah, I'm curious to see. I also put a poll up on YouTube to just kind of see, because I'm curious as to what percentage of people prefer which one. You know what I'm saying? So they're both good bikes. I just feel like they cater to different riding styles, maybe. I'm not sure. But you know, the crazy part is they do feel totally different. Like, they don't feel the same at all, not even close. And it's actually nuts that we can have two sets of bikes that just feel so much different. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I didn't want to go and do a video on all of the bikes on the factory side of things. And I'm not going to do it on OEM either, because it's just going to be way too long of a video. There's so many bikes. And to sit here and be like, oh, this bike is better than this bike. This bike's better than this bike, as far as like Kawasaki versus Honda or whatever. I'll let you guys be the judge of that. I just wanted to kind of give some gameplay of the new factory bikes and state my opinion on them and where I stand. And outside of that, you know, that's all I can do. Everybody else is going to make up their own mind on what they prefer. And you're not wrong. Whatever one you like more, you know. There for the longest, I did only like the OEMs, and I wouldn't even give the factory bikes a chance. And I'm glad that I did finally. So it just handles everything. I don't know if you guys are noticing this as I'm going through this sand, but that's another thing is the tires. The tires for the factory bikes, they handle everything, man. So it's awesome. I love them, and that's what I'm gonna be riding. So, but that's gonna do it for me and today's video, guys. So you guys have a good day. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.